See, that's a little arrow.
Did you find
Yeah.
anything in the
That
Google
tells you that
thing?
it's
Trying to
broadcasting,
figure
it's
out how
out to the internet.
I've lost my
So
link.
it tells you that it's in recording
You
mode.
go to email?
Well, it's recording to the hard drive. The up
Mine is
arrow
email?
says that it's broadcasting to
Is
to
email?
YouTube.
Because it has
So the
the
three people that watch this are able to see it.
link there.
Oh, they
Okay.
would show me that
There was
one of
another
these times.
email.
It is. Looks like about 4 minutes after 6, I'd like to call the May 21st, 2019 Budget Committee meeting to order. And I'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And we can have the roll call starting from my left.
Tammy Smith.
Peg Hurd?
Dennis Woods?
Bob Carrier. Humphrey Williams.
And the chairman, Thomas McDougall, is here. It looks like we have a quorum. Andy Rawson and David Carpus are excused. They told me they would not be able to make it tonight. So they're excused. And let's see here. Next up is approval of the bylaws. I put the bylaws up on our shared drive. Right.
Copies, hard copies. You didn't make copies, Tom?
I did not print out copies of the bylaws, of the updated bylaws, I
I
should
got
say.
another one.
All right, up to the Google Drive.
Well, I said the bylaws, but what did I do with the bylaws? And they may have gotten sent out from Sherry.
They're in the miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous, but is that the updated ones? That's the $64,000 question.
But there's multiple versions.
No, some of it, if you don't have it, I got another one.
Okay, you see, I'm looking for the latest one from Sherry. The revised one that had the changes and everything. She was gonna complete some.
I got another one right here. Just not the completed one.
Oh,
but she
okay.
did.
All right, and fortunately, she is not here this evening. She will be doing the minutes.
Yeah, this doesn't include
Via
the changes
video.
we made at the last meeting, though, right?
Yeah, it does. That's
Oh, it
why
does?
It's still in blue.
Oh, okay.
Okay, where are you?
Yep.
Come on.
You're right, because that's all
I
right.
had the email. It's just out
I
on
marked
the-
up a copy, so I don't have it.
Yeah, yeah, and I left the marked up copy home because I had it in here and I thought that I had gotten the minutes from the bylaws, not minutes, bylaws from Sherry. Let's see, let's go double check if she had updated it in the miscellaneous docs.
It's the only one I can see.
Yeah,
What?
that. And it does not.
See, I hadn't seen the changes come out.
Was it something Sherry would have sent out to us?
No, that's what I just looked. I
Yeah,
didn't,
I
she
didn't.
typically would have.
I
did
hadn't
not
seen it
see-
with no
yeah.
email on
I
that.
didn't see the email from it.
The only one,
All right, you know what? Oh,
that's the only budget one. in there. And that says last modified April 7th.
okay, yeah, was that true?
That can't be it, right?
No.
No,
No, we did it at the last meeting. It was the
I'm
19th.
looking at,
yeah.
Well,
now the questions, if you go back,
7th, that
I
was
saw
the
it
stuff
on
that
there.
you had done.
Something about the questions.
If you see any more.
No,
Are you looking
no.
for your questions?
The
or are
answers
we
to all
looking
my
for the-
questions. The answers to all my
Okay, well, we're looking
questions.
for the budget.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
this is
know,
the
it
bylaws
is. We
right
can't
now,
find
and-
those either.
No.
And this does not.
Peg's edits. BC minutes with Peg's edits. That's
Okay, I think I will have
Yeah.
to confirm with Sherry where the bylaws are at. It doesn't look like
Answers
they've
to
been
school
posted
district
here on the,
expense report.
Yeah, what's
On
time
Google
date
Drive.
on that? Yeah, May
May
14th.
14th.
so.
Is that it?
Oh, yeah. Mr. Williams, your
Yeah,
answers are in there.
okay. I'll go over it that way. I don't need to, I don't wanna have to go through everything.
No, but I wanted to make sure that
Okay.
you
no,
got
that's
it.
good.
And I did have your report so that you could have the lines, but the lines should not have changed.
No.
And I just did the simple lines, like line 24.
No,
The
that,
Excel
and that's the
lines.
way, and that's the way it should be, yeah, that's a lot easier.
A lot easier than,
Than reading off the, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well,
Table that then.
unfortunately, if I could get a motion to table the,
I'll make a motion, we
I'll
table
second
that
it.
till the next meeting.
and all in favor?
Wait a minute,
Aye.
somebody, who seconded?
I did.
I did, okay.
Okay, motion was made by Humphrey, seconded by Peg to table the bylaws discussion until our next meeting. And I will make sure that it's in or not, and it was approved unanimously.
Just one thing, Mr. Chairman, we have a
Yeah.
guest in the
Oh.
audience.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, we do.
Introduce Dustin, the new town administrator, your,
Oh,
Hi, I just wanted to stop by
Welcome.
and put some names with faces with the names and just say hello. And anything that I can help you with, please don't hesitate to call me
okay,
or email me, whatever is more convenient for you. And we'll get you as much information as we can.
okay,
We
all right,
appreciate that.
well, we will certainly be doing that here in the, the coming months, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I didn't
Welcome.
get your full name, what was that?
Ernest Kreveling, Creveling.
Thank you,
Go
thank
by
you.
Ernie.
Okay. Thank you for coming down tonight for a while.
Yeah,
Oh, you're welcome.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, girls.
Okay. Let's see, next, we had talked about having discussion with the department heads about the various budget items. I haven't heard back from Pat Smith yet. I have heard back from the police chief and fire chief. The police chief, looks like the only easily available day that he's got is the 29th. Let me double check that I got that right here.
I think that's
It's next week.
Yep, 29th at 6 PM. That would be at the police station. He says it's gonna be tight, so he says if we have other visitors besides the budget committee members, it'd be really tight. But it's, and again, the purpose of that is to go through the budget, the detailed budget, say, okay, this is what, when I say supplies, this is my supply cabinet, this is the kinds of things we buy, that kind of thing. That's my intention for that. And if we have any questions for him about what the specific items in the budget, in his line items are for. That's what and I'm hoping that will help us reduce the amount of back and forth that we do. When it comes time for when they present the budget. So be familiar with what his lines are, what they mean. Because I know I've frequently had questions about, and it seems like invariably, why do you have two antiviruses listed? And it's because they have two different systems. They have to cover cars and stuff in the office. So anyway, that's that. Now, Chief Marie, he can do the 27th through the 29th and June 4th through the 6th. So 4th, 5th, and 6th, or 27th, 28th, or 29th. 29th, we just said we're going to do the police chief, so that's kind of out. Anybody have a preference for one day? Can't make a day?
No,
Well,
we mean
not the
same time.
27th is Memorial Day, is that what you said?
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
Memorial Day.
Okay, so we probably don't want to do 27th.
Yeah, unless he wants to cook out for us or whatever, yeah.
He probably
Let's
would,
see.
so.
Have a
I
party.
think-
That's on air, so it's like he probably would.
Yeah, I think okay, so I think my wife is flying out the 28th, as I look back at her and ask. Okay, so the 28th may not be good for me, so it looks like June. June 4th, 5th, or 6th.
4th or 5th?
I'm good, right, yeah, any of them. You just name the
Here's
two.
the day.
Not the
Okay,
6th.
you know, maybe I should look at my calendar and see what days of the week those fall.
Well,
Uh,
the 4th is Tuesday, 5th
What's that?
Wednesday.
Okay, so that's all during the week.
Yeah.
Let me just double check with work, to make sure I don't think I've got anything going.
And we have medic,
Let's see, that's in June,
we have
right?
medic on the 6th.
So 4th, 5th, and, okay, how about if we call it
Fourth, fifth,
Wednesday the
No, no,
5th?
but we have medic on the 6th.
It works for me.
Tuesday or Wednesday, which one?
Wednesday the 5th.
Okay.
Same time, we're gonna do it.
Same time, as 6 o'clock work for people? You want to do it earlier, later?
No, that's good.
6 is fine.
Okay,
Gonna send out some kind of
yep,
a
yep,
reminder.
oh, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I could for a moment,
Yes,
there's
sir.
something I would like to bring up. I think it's gonna affect a meeting we have with these guys, something we
Okay,
can discuss
yep,
with them.
yep.
And it's kind of a proposal. I'm gonna pass this around here, if you just take the two, give you a copy, then pass them.
Okay, I think there's two.
Yeah, there's two.
Yep.
I didn't have them stapled, so.
Oh, there's it right there.
Yep. Something I believe would help us in both the school and the town immensely.
Okay.
Currently, our process, and the reason I'm bringing this up is if we're gonna talk with the department heads, I'd like to discuss that as part of it. Currently, we vote in March for a current year,
Yeah.
which puts us 9 months into the school budget year, and it puts us 3 months into the regular annual budget year. I propose that we talk with the Board of Selectmen, and we talk with the department heads about the potential of moving to a fiscal year that would start with the July 1st date, like the school has, and line the town up with it. It would require us to put out an 18-month budget, though, and then figure out how that would be processed. I know I talked with the town administrator about that potential. But I'm handing this out, not looking
Yep.
for answers tonight, but I would just like you guys to see what I was looking at. To me, it's a major disadvantage to be trying to figure out a budget when you're already in it. And especially, like I said, the schools, it's 9 months after the start. To end up in a default budget becomes a real problem.
Except the school, we're actually 3 months ahead,
Right.
because the budget that was approved starts July 1st.
So works out
I
fine for
understand, but I'm
us.
saying, but we end up working on the default for part of this.
Not, well, for the town, yes, for the school.
Yeah, okay, all right, you're right,
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
sorry. We
The
are,
school
but
is
I want to
fine.
line it up so
Yeah,
that
yeah, if it was
Yes.
aligned like the school, you're
Yes.
absolutely right.
it would be a lot better that we're not
Yeah.
dealing with two split budgets.
Yeah.
You're right, I apologize about that, but my point though is we need to try to line it up and make it easier. We shouldn't be voting
Yeah.
on the budget after we've already started the year, and then everybody's planning on one thing and we end up with something
Yeah.
different. But I know it would require us to go before the Board of Selectmen and work with the department heads and figure out how to come up with
Yeah.
an 18-month budget to shift this.
Is this something we can do without?
This is in
meeting.
regards to an SB2 town, you can do that. It's up to us, we'd have to go and, I mean, I think you still have to put it before a vote.
Right.
So, but the thing is this is something that we need to find out how well we could plan it, so we could put it before a vote. So now's the time to start asking these questions about
Yep.
them putting together
Yep.
an 18-month budget, so. If we
No,
want to put
it-
this
we
before a
can-
vote next time.
Yeah, no, we can certainly chat with the department heads to see what their feelings on that are.
Yeah, and I believe
Alright.
most would be, no real issue. I mean, obviously, we're gonna have some things that we can't factor everything in, such as retirement and insurance and all that, but we can factor in most of the other budgets on materials, services, and those types of things. So,
Yep.
I think the earlier we start this, the better better chance we have of aligning the budgets.
I just don't know how it's gonna affect the elections on board members. I don't know how that's gonna work.
Well, if you shift this, you actually shift, you don't change anything as
No.
far as the board members go. The election
No, it'd be the
time,
same time.
the election time can actually move out to April instead of March. You may do something like that, April or May, because they usually align them up a few months before the budget starts. But we don't have to change the
Yeah, I think-
annual process.
I think, Bob, if this would simply make the town budget, the first year would be very difficult, because you'd be talking.
have a
an
6-month
18-month,
interim.
yeah. But after that, the town budget would align just like the school budget where,
And with the taxes too, because you get your
Yeah.
tax money up front and
Yeah,
then
it
halfway
would-
through the year, not halfway through and then at the end of the year.
yeah, so but it's, all we can do is present it, this idea to the budget, to the
Well-
department heads, and
Something to keep in mind, how are you gonna schedule all this?
that's, again, this is just an idea. It's, we, you know, we'll float it and see, and.
All right?
Yeah. Tom, I would say
Yes, Becky.
elections of any kind of members really would not make any kind of a difference because school board members are elected
Yeah.
in March,
Yeah.
so.
I think the only thing that might change when you read this is they may shift, in some case, some of the towns have shifted their voting to either April or May, but that's all it is. You're still gonna have your voting, you
Yeah.
know, following your annual town meeting, so.
Well, maybe it
Yep.
wouldn't be snowing.
Yeah, but if we get positive feedback
there, done
from
that.
department heads,
Yeah.
then maybe it's something we reach out to another town that's done this
Yep.
and see what their experience with it was.
Like I said, I think it makes it easier for us to align
Yeah.
both, and
Yeah.
it works, it makes more sense.
And it might, you know, we might also look, see if there's any towns that did this and then went back and see why they did that.
Yeah, I didn't see anything on that. I know that Concord themselves went to this, and I know there's at least 11 or 12 towns that
Yeah.
went to this type of process. And
Like I said, it's, we can, you know, certainly investigate it to see what it would, you know, what it will take for us to do that. And start out with, you know, see what, if the department head say, yeah, no, then it would be a non-starter. If they say, yeah, it's something to look at, then I certainly think it would be worth pursuing.
Yep.
Okay, any other comments about the discussion about the meeting with the fire chief and police chief? And Mr. Town Administrator will be doing the same thing with the departments here in Town Hall as well. And we'll try to, you know, probably schedule that, because I can't imagine that would take very long. And schedule that sometime during the day when most of us could be able to make it. And again, it's, as I mentioned, it's just, this is, when we say supplies, this is what we mean. When we say, and because, just to get us familiar with it, with what's included in these lines. Yes?
Can I ask a question? I didn't see an agenda, so I don't know if the public can ask
Yeah.
questions here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
I have two questions. One is there any possible way you guys could move your meeting to a different day? And there's a reason why. Right now, everybody that holds a meeting here, they're able to be recorded. We can't be recorded downstairs in the planning board. And it would be an expense that, yes, we have to go out and get new equipment, blah, 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 it takes another year. If we could change days, then at least everybody would be able to be recorded. That's number one question. Number two question is, and I'm gonna hit our board with it today, is when you guys have a meeting, if you could put some of the material that you guys are gonna have on your agenda out, so if someone wants to participate in the audience, they can see what it is you're talking about. That's all.
I will say this, where is the audience?
Well, look at
you know
them all.
what?
We have-
Bring us some candy and we will come.
Aren't the agendas posted on the board?
Yeah, the agendas are posted. She's talking about like some of the
I'm
other.
What
we're covering
The
from
paper.
material.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that can be
Yes.
costly if you start printing out a lot of stuff.
I'm not asking you to print out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I
Well,
don't think it's
The
too much to
agenda.
ask for to understand what you guys are talking about.
yeah, we can, and I could always open up the Google Drive to post links for the public
Yeah.
to see the documents. You can make a read on anything.
Mhm.
And that way, if anybody's interested, they go up there and look at it and see what we're gonna be talking about. And you can
Yeah,
bring
we
that
had
up on
talked
your
about
phone.
being able to have that,
Yeah.
you know, visible to the
Yeah,
public.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's
nice.
probably something that we should do.
Thank you.
And I will bring up later on in the agenda, we'll have a discussion about moving the meeting. Unfortunately, you'll be in your meeting, so.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to go, that's why.
Should we talk about it now then, while she's in her
Why not?
room?
I don't know.
How often do you meet? Twice a month?
Twice a month,
The
that's why I'm
same-
saying that, yeah. And we're not getting recorded. And we don't have anyone to even take minutes right now, so it's kind of, yeah. Well, Bruce is handling everything.
I would agree with that, because
Yeah.
people should actually see that CIP and
Yeah.
how they present
Yes.
everything.
See, yeah.
Yeah, no,
I have
that's,
nothing wrong with it, it's just that people need to see the process of this, it's not.
That's right. They
It's a
don't
long one.
understand
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Heck, I don't even understand.
Okay, so I'll leave it to the board. Do you want to talk about moving the meeting now or later in the agenda?
You could probably do it under any other business that
Okay.
comes before the board, because we're starting to slide out.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Okay, well,
There's not,
anybody have any
not
objections?
many other
Byron?
nights available, though, that's the only
Well,
issue.
Well, I'm looking at
You
maybe
can't
the
do it
second,
Monday.
maybe the
Yeah.
second Tuesday rather than the third Tuesday. Does somebody else meet the second Tuesday, though?
Well, we can talk to the, we
Okay.
can talk to the town.
Make
and
sure
find
that
out.
it's just available here. in
Yeah,
the
see
room,
what's
so-
available consistently.
Yeah, if their meeting's twice a
Yeah.
month, then we can fit ours in.
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
middle.
and I
In the
agree,
middle,
it, because they are the CIPs. and
Doesn't
if we
have
can
to
get
change
them-
nights
Yeah,
necessarily.
okay, we'll talk about that a little bit further. Okay, and next is the cemetery financial review.
We don't have a seminary.
This
too.
was,
Wasn't that-
the cemetery committee met,
I can.
earlier this, no,
It
last
was
week.
last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. Bob went, he sent me some information that they had presented and talked about. Unfortunately, I didn't get it up on the Google Drive.
Put another copy and shit down.
But, here's one of the,
Okay.
yeah.
What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna talk just about the budget. Now, when I was there, this was a 15-page report, and I cut it down a little bit, because it's kind of costly. I kept it to the budget, but I did put some pages in there for like perpetual care. You see page 1, and maybe the last page I put it in there. The MS9 that you sent, that's on the your website,
Yeah.
you'll be able to see all the cemeteries and how much is in each one. But the one I'm going through is the one that, oh, I got another one right here. But
Everybody have
is,
one? Okay.
is what the budgets we're working on. And what he wanted to do is, he's even gonna talk to the selectmen about it, is how that works, the expendable trust. Now, the first page, this is a new person who is going to be doing the cemetery work in Milton Mills. And you can see the price on it. The one who did it before can no longer do it, and he's put the feelers out there, and some of them it's too much, or they can't get enough help to do it. So this gentleman here is gonna be doing it.
Is this Merrill?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Now, here, he put this in here, the alternate cemetery trustee member under RSA 289:6. The Milton Cemetery trustees recommend to appoint for a one-year term an alternate member for the Milton Cemetery trustees. They can appoint two, but it comes from the selectmen. They would have to do that. So we go to the next page. Okay, this is Milton Mills Cemetery. This is a total of 10 years of income and operating costs. This gives you an idea how this is operating. It is a self-sustaining business. If you can see from 2004 to 2013, the beginning balance of 2004 was $16,893. The total income with the 2004 beginning balance went to $102,765. So the total operating cost is $83,993. But the 10-year balance has been $18,772. Also, the Milton Mills Cemetery has 5+ acres that would not be needed for burials for an estimated 85 years and could be developed for recreational uses for the town of Milton. Now, the next page, this was last year's budget for 2018. And this is just for Milton Mills only, the cemetery. The net budget is $6,000. The total use was $6,047.71. They overspent that line. But the total PC income was $3,520.03. The total right to inter income was $1,600. As you can see to the right, the Cemetery Expendable Trust reimbursement needs to reimburse the town $927.68. What you see here is the total use. You can see it down below on your left. They used $6,047.71. The total income and the right to inter, they put it towards that, and they come out short. They have to reimburse that $927. So the income for that year, they put it towards the total used on that $6,000. That $6,000 is all going back to the general fund. If they did not spend all that 6,000, and the income is, I better break this down a little bit better than that. I'll start with this. Any income they get goes into the what is that thing?
Their balance?
The expendable trust.
Trust.
It goes into the expendable trust, all of it. At the end of the year, they look at what they've spent, they take all that money. If they spent just 6,000, they're gonna take that 6,000, it's gonna go right back, because they're gonna take whatever income they made and put it against that. It will go back to the general fund.
The
It
balance,
c-
the
yeah,
balance.
the balance, and the balance of it, if they have more income, goes in the expendable trust. It just grows. Does anybody understand that? I'm not
Yes.
sure.
So,
I got a silly question. What's
No, it's not a
what
silly
is
question.
PC income?
That's perpetual care.
Okay.
that was gonna be my silly question.
Okay.
I should have said that.
Uh,
Yeah, okay.
Thanks for asking me
Yeah.
silly
If
questions.
I might ask, so if they're, let's say their total income had been $8,000.
Yep.
What they had spent was 6,000.
Yep.
Ignore the 47.
Yep.
They would have simply reimbursed the town the 6,000, or given that 6,000 back to the town.
Yep.
And put the 2,000 into the expendable trust.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Anything extra. Right here, there was not enough to cover that. So you add the income, subtract it from the total use. We need to send the town back 927,000. It's gonna come out of the expendable trust. As you can see here, down below where it says total used, and then total reimbursement to the town, the whole thing.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm slowly beginning to
That's
understand
okay.
that. So what they're saying is that their budget was 6,000.
Yep.
What they spent, ignoring all this other stuff, they spent
Yep.
$6,047.71.
Yeah,
Their income from perpetual care and right to inter were these two numbers.
yeah,
To make up the difference from those two additions to 6,047.71, they had to take 927.60
Yep.
from the expendable trust.
yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay,
What it is, whatever they put in there, it's gonna be reimbursed, but to get this expendable trust started, you have to put the money out front.
Yeah.
You have to budget it.
Yeah.
Now, there's another item in here is the administrative cost. He don't really figure that in. This is the one he's really focused on. If we only used $5,000 out of that total used 5,000, he will encumber what is left. He will have 1 year to spend it. And if he does not spend it, it goes back to the general fund. This one here, he has nothing to use. So in the administrative costs, he's not concerned about it. That will go back to the general fund. This is the item he's talking about, the one that's gonna take care of the cemetery. Does anybody have any other questions? I mean, I'm trying to make it as simple as I could, but if they only use 5,000, they'll have 1,000 left. He's gonna encumber it, and he'll have that 1 year.
now when he encumbers that,
Yeah.
does he have to have a specific use that he's gonna expend that encumbrance?
No, he's just going to encumber
Okay,
it
okay.
from that line only.
Okay.
And he'll have a year to spend it, but
Okay,
it has to go for the cemetery.
Yeah,
Is that what you want?
No, well, no, I wasn't sure if he had to say, okay, I'm gonna encumber the $1,000
Yeah.
and it will only be used for grass cutting.
Yeah.
Okay, but he doesn't have to do it. It can be used for whatever they
Yeah.
need to take care of the
Yeah,
cemetery.
whatever is needed,
Okay.
and he wasn't specific when he
Yeah.
mentioned it. But this is, does anybody have any questions on this?
I think I'm a bit confused.
I'm sure.
So the budget, so the $6,000
Yeah.
is a line item in the town's budget.
It's in the cemetery budget.
Okay, but it's coming from
It's
the
coming
town.
from the town,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess I'm not understanding, if they've got 5120 in income, why are they giving money back to the town?
Because this is because they have an expendable trust. This is going to make money, this here is not gonna cost the town any money.
Okay.
We have to put the money up front.
Gotcha.
Now, he's gonna take
Good.
whatever money he say, that, like
Whatever
2018.
income they have.
Yep, they're
and
going to
it-
pay back that 6,000, or like in this case, they overspent
Like
it.
you said, the town funds them up front and then they've got the
Yes.
time.
Okay,
like a loan.
that's the piece I was
Yeah,
getting
okay.
at.
It's a loan.
Yeah.
What it is, it just goes back, and if they make more money, that's great, because it expends there. You'll get to the last page, we'll show you where it is.
Yeah,
okay?
gotcha.
I knew I was gonna put any other question, and the next page,
But you know what, before we go on, Bob, on the prior page, the 10-year income and operating cost,
yep,
what does that $18,772 represent? To me, it meant, oh, that they've got that to work with, but it does not sound like it if they have to borrow,
They-
quote unquote, money from the town every year.
no.
So where is this money, what does this money do?
This money sets into an expendable account. When the cemetery, when Milton Mills,
Well, do they have 18,000 in their expendable account right now?
They have more than
That was as of 2013.
yeah. see, look
Okay,
at the-
so, all right, so they do have a balance in their
Yes.
expendable account,
When we get-
and that's where the 900 and something dollars came
Yeah.
out.
Every time they sell property, that money goes back into there, pays for all this, but then they reimburse it. It's not borrowing in a way, it's,
And, well, yeah, they have to pay back whatever
it was like
is in
the
the
town
budget.
budget.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, okay. All right, I just wanted to make
No,
sure that
you-
that money,
yes.
Yeah, I have a question.
Nope.
It seems, I understand now what the $6,000, but the $6,000 now becomes part of the town budget,
Yes,
which is used to calculate tax rates, correct?
yes.
So,
and the money comes back.
and I know it's a small amount of money, but I'm gonna be watching every one of these small amounts of money, because some of them may turn into big ones. Okay, it seems to me now, we've calculated the tax rates, and then at the end of the year, if it's coming back out of an expendable trust, it goes back into the general fund. Isn't that what we should be trying to avoid doing?
Okay,
Doesn't it arbitrarily raise our tax rates?
we had this conversation, me and John, Mr. Catwick, I says, I don't see how it helps, because I still gotta put money out there. It's not like a revolving fund. Money in, money out, there was no taxpayer dollars goes in it. Here, you have to appropriate. Now, I didn't look at the laws on 289, but see, the difference there is this. They don't have to ask the selectmen's permission for any of this. They got a bill, they can pay it. It's not like
Out of their own, out of their
Out of
out of
expendable
out of
fund.
the expendable
Yeah,
trust. Okay, that's something
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you about that.
Right.
The other one, the capital reserves, they have to ask the selectmen for permission to use that money that's in it. This is the different one. This,
Yep.
they don't need, they have a bill, they will go out and pay it. At the end of the year, they'll see what they have. They're gonna reimburse whatever has been spent. Whatever's been encumbered, well, whatever's left over, they're gonna encumber it.
Yeah.
He's got 1 year to spend it. He does not spend it, it goes back to the general fund.
Yeah.
And I can see your point, because we kind of had a conversation about that, but.
Yeah, it's just, I think we need to really pay special attention to that,
Yeah.
because it's.
It rolls up into a total budget.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
No matter how you look at it, it rolls up into a
You
total
could
budget.
guarantee the $6,000 worth of support out of the general fund, which, I mean, unless we're in really lots of trouble, without adding it as a line item in a budget that
Except,
arbitrarily.
go ahead, Beck.
Well, this whole discussion, the only other thing I could think of is a warrant article for them that does not and will not, I don't know how it'd be worded, but would not raise
Additional
the
taxes.
additional taxes, and it'll be paid back at the end of the year rather than
That would be
adding to the bottom
essentially
line.
Well,
guaranteeing it out of the general fund, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
There's-
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
One other way of doing it, remember, and just if I may, remember where I talked about the potential of showing the individual budgets that could be an individual budget that's shown at the annual meeting, aspect of it too. So that at least people understand that it's not gonna cost the taxpayers the money.
right, but if it does roll up in the
Tax rate.
Yeah, if
Tax
that-
rate, yeah.
If it's in the
Yeah.
budget, then it's gonna
Yeah.
roll up.
Well, it could,
one
yeah,
way or the
I know,
other.
we need to come up with a way it's shown separate, so, yeah.
Now, there,
Anyway.
But I have another question too. Why would stuff go back to the general fund if they have their, whatever you wanna call it,
Expendable trust.
18.
expendable trust fund, and they've got more money?
It keeps, if you look at that, it
So-
keeps going, okay? What is, we never asked the taxpayers for any money. It keeps going out, and the more it grows, it just keeps.
All right, but you said that if there's something left, so if we put $6,000 in for the budget and they only spend 5,000, then they can encumber that extra 1,000. They have a year to spend it. So that's what's encumbered. Okay,
Does-
all right.
That does
good.
cost the town then, $1,000.
But don't forget,
It costs the town.
No, I know, either way, it's
$6,000
costing,
costs
yeah.
the
Kevin,
town.
I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Okay,
Thank you,
it's no
Bob.
different than all the money coming back at the end of the budget season, okay? It goes into the general fund. Sometimes you will see in your report, your expenditure report for the town, some of them will take some of that money and use it for what they need. Okay, it's already been budgeted, so they get permission from the selectmen to encumber that money, but they have a year to spend it. If they don't spend it, it has to go back.
Can the school,
The school's gonna expend, is.
can we encumber?
That, I cannot.
Yeah.
I do not know for sure.
Oh.
Actually, I think you do in a way anyways for the way.
No, no, no,
the
but I
budgets
mean,
work,
at
not
the end of the
this-
year,
Yeah, I don't
if
know.
we,
Yeah, that-
rather than giving back the town $100,000, if we could
Yeah, the
encumber.
schools work differently.
Yeah, I don't
think you
know
can do that. I think I asked that question one year, and I don't believe the school's allowed to do that.
Darn.
But but to go back to Dennis's point too, if they've got the money up front, I don't really understand why they're asking for the town and they're not just using the expendable trust and then if necessary. Like Peg said,
Right,
you
it's more
asked,
like a
no, I'm saying
revolving
if,
account.
maybe
Now,
you put for
there-
the warrant
if
article
I might,
instead.
there may be RSAs that dictate to that this is how it's done. It may be,
Yeah, that's
may
fine.
not be that, hey, we think it's a good idea in Milton to set our cemetery expendable trust fund. There very likely are RSAs that dictate this is how you handle money. I do know that they're right, you do have to appropriate the money first, even though you're gonna get it back. You know, and they do it with the highway grants, right? You have to appropriate the money back, even though you know you're gonna get
Yeah,
money.
but those come through the warrant, that's the reason,
Yeah,
most of those,
yeah, but
that's why I
it's-
was saying
but this
instead of
is-
the
That's
this
budget.
totally
is-
different, yeah.
Kind of you have to, there's probably an RSA that says you have to get the money, have the money in the budget, even if you're gonna give it back, reimburse it.
But in order to keep yourself some funded, you gotta keep putting money in. But if
Yeah.
you don't, if you're gonna just use it straight out, you're not, I don't think you're gonna make it.
Well, that's fine, but I mean, I think if you had a warrant article for
that's what I was-
$6,000, no increase in taxes, and,
You
I mean, that
started
kind of
from the
goes into
general
a
fund.
trust
Yeah.
fund type of thing, and then if we spend that
But-
6,000, we spend that 6,000.
But what happens when that warrant article gets defeated?
Oh, yeah, but the other thing too, Mr. Chairman, what if the money doesn't come in? Right now, the money came in good, and as you see down the road, $800 has already been put in. There could be a time when we're not gonna have any money, and they could actually overspend this. And if you're drawing down off this,
Yeah.
But if it goes into their, tell me what you're gonna call it.
Expendable-
You know, all
expendable
expendable trust. I mean, we've got trust funds, expendable trust, you know, blah, blah, blah. If that 6,000 goes into their expendable trust,
no,
no, as a warrant article, I know what you're saying about it being not approved, but no additional taxes?
you're not gonna be able to do that.
If
I know.
if it goes into their trust from the general fund,
Right,
then you can say that
Right.
it doesn't create any
Right.
new taxes.
right.
That's an issue we have with our warrant articles nowadays, that we can always say it doesn't generate new taxes, but it certainly did.
It generated taxes in the first place, right?
it-
Okay.
When
Know
it-
that.
when you're
Yeah,
taking it out of
okay.
the general
It-
fund. so.
Sounds like to me we've got lots of questions about it.
Yep.
Maybe instead of us saying maybe this, maybe that, we talk to Mr. Catwick or somebody that's knowledgeable about how,
You'd be better off if you
yeah,
did.
you know, because otherwise we could sit here all night and say, well, maybe we could do that, maybe we could do this.
We had them sitting right there, we should have captured them.
Okay,
What do you
I
know yet?
apologize,
Give
John.
them a-
I knew I would probably blow it on them.
All right, what are
Okay.
your first tasks?
Well, before,
Will be.
the next page is, there's the expenses and who got the money. Okay, and it adds up. That was all last year's, and this is
The
the,
maintenance and that, yeah.
everything, and who got the money and how much was spent.
So now we've got the new maintenance mowing
Yep.
from Morrow.
Now, most of these say what they are for,
Yep.
but Ken Bruce Construction doesn't.
That would be gravel or some other,
Okay, and all land enterprises, we've got
Says
two
maintenance
that it
and
says,
mowing.
and then nothing, and then winning landscapes.
Well, if I might, the all land enterprise, you notice those are all the same dollar amount?
Mhm.
They're very likely for the same
Yes.
service.
Okay, so
probably-
mowing, yeah, all
Probably
right.
mowing and landscaping services of that nature.
So winning landscapes. Wonder what they did.
The other pages are just perpetual care.
Yeah.
And the last page is the one that you want to look at. Actually, before that, there's the 2018 revenues. You can see where it's red circled, that's the money that came in. And as for the other dollar amounts, I think that has something to do with the land. If they sell the land parcels or whatever it is, they put it in here as well. But these circle these, this is the amount of money that we got out of it. And the dates and when they went in. And if you look 2019 year to date, they've already got $800 going into the expendable trust. And also that expendable trust earns interest as well. And on the very last page, this is and he's got a circle, almost circle. If you look at the top of the line, you see the cemetery, you see cemetery fund. That is the capital reserve. There's $10,924.27 in that one. The expendable trust has $41,856. Wait a minute. Yeah.
I know,
30,932.
Yeah, right. I looked at the wrong line. Okay, when you combine the
Okay,
two, that's
yeah.
what it is. You combine the two. That's my mistake. So there is plenty of money there, and you can see the principals, the income, what it is. This is all invested with Bearing Point. So this is something we need to look at, and there's a lot of questions. I was hoping he would be coming here, because he could better explain it than I.
Well,
Oh, you did a good job.
I tried to do a good job, but I knew
No,
I should write my script.
Perfect job, Bob.
Thank you for going.
Yeah, thank you for going to that. And I wish when Bob told me about it, I thought like 10 minutes before the meeting, hey, do you think you could maybe see if they can record it? Then we could see it.
I wished I could have done it.
I didn't think of it until 10 minutes before the meeting, so.
I think from now on, I'm going to do it. You really need to know, because the perpetual care is, I still don't understand it. It's very, very difficult. Is everybody all set with that?
Okay, anybody have any other questions about that, or?
I tried to do the best I can.
You did a good job, Bob.
Good
Thank
job,
you.
Bob.
Fine, thank you.
Great job. Okay, let's see, town expenditure report. Unfortunately, our town selectmen's rep is not here to answer said questions from the expenditure report. I had come up with a couple that
Yeah, do we want to email, like,
Yeah.
email the questions to me, and I'll send them on to, because I had sent mine to Andy.
okay, yeah, because I had quite a few from last month that I thought he was going to get back to us on,
Yeah.
but,
I know he worked on it at the meeting,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
okay.
no chance.
Okay,
See,
that's for me this time. I have no answers. I have no questions.
Yeah.
He's
I
going,
do
yeah,
know-
What
right.
did I have? It was on one of the fire department lines. They had a mileage expended, and it might have been in March, I think they expended it instead of April, but it was $1.50. That's like, to the mailbox and back. It didn't seem like that was enough. And
I
there
think there was some mileage reimbursements on
Yeah,
some
yeah,
things.
yeah.
that-
Yeah, and then there was a demolition of projects, the line that was titled that, and I thought that was properties, not projects. It made me wonder if it was somebody mistyped something or, but anyway, we can, look at those, bring up the questions, or if you have anything you want to discuss tonight, with the fellow members here.
I had one thing that one of the selectmen passed along to me, for us to keep in mind that the town now has a vehicle,
Yep,
Right.
so
Police
to
vehicle.
yep,
keep an eye on the mileage charges.
Yep.
If you see mileage charges come in,
Yeah.
question why they're not using the
Yeah.
vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. Matter of fact, there's two, because we've got the other one that it's over at the Public Works too, that they had originally, so.
Is that one's
Is that one
working?
available, or is it?
I don't know if that, but I'm saying we had that, I think they were doing some repairs to this, to the
Yeah.
second one.
Well, the original car they had, they have given, or I'd given, that's the town custodian's using that, and he uses it to go around all the buildings.
Yeah.
That's why it was not available for the use here in town hall.
Well, I know that, I'm saying that they had the second vehicle. I'm not saying the
Oh.
town's using it. Now they've got
The
this one
police
here.
vehicle?
Right, that's what I meant.
Okay,
We now have two vehicles in town
But-
for the use of what they needed to do.
yeah, but for me, those two items I just mentioned were what attracted my attention.
I think a lot of what we've got here, besides sending this to Andy, is we're gonna be meeting with the department heads.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah, and we'll,
that's
and
the
it-
time to hit where some of these things,
Mhm.
we already know, like fuel costs and things like that, a lot of that's up
Yeah.
front. So.
now again, before we meet with the department heads, I will try to round up, actually, I think I've got it posted on the Google Drive, their detailed budget breakdown, where they talked about, in this line, this is the kind of things we expend out of that. I will make sure I send that out to everybody, so that you have something to talk to when you ask them about it, or when we're talking to them about it. And again, I also, not just for the big department heads, but also for the town hall stuff, welfare, code enforcement, planning and code, all that. Hoping to do something like this for them too. And that'll probably have to be done during the day. As I digress from our discussion about town report. Okay, anybody have anything else here they want to talk about, bring out in town reports?
I didn't have anything other than the standard, okay, we should be at
Yeah.
33% and we're
Yeah.
at 50, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. But until we figure out a better way for them to report or quantify their spending, I'm not
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
what the terminology would be in municipal
Municipal
Yeah.
lingo?
Until that, I mean, that's what we're gonna end up doing here. But what I started thinking about was, all right, so if we've got accounts that are overspent already at some point in time, should it not be the job of the department managers to inform the budget committee where they're going to get the funds, where they're taking the funds from? Because
We can ask them that, but that's really them and the selectmen to figure that out. Our job is they need to tell us, we need to be aware, but our job is to say, this is the budget that's gonna be presented to the voters at the beginning of the year.
right, no, I'm
Yeah,
not.
Yeah, but they should tell us, yes, this is, hey, we drove way more than we thought we would, so we expended our diesel line by $2,000. And we're gonna move it from here to there. That is something we can certainly ask them to notify us about, or let us know.
Right,
Oh,
right.
well,
That's all I'm
yeah.
saying, because
It's gonna-
otherwise we're looking at places where they may be taking money
Yeah.
as, it's not showing up in the
Yeah.
analysis that we're doing. Not that the analysis, we're making a whole lot of difference with the analysis we do on a monthly basis, but at least if the spending is awry in one way or the other, I think those are some of the questions that they need to go back and tell us at that point what's going on, so we don't go to the next month and.
Yeah, because otherwise,
it's carried
we would ask them anyway, right?
Yeah, we
If we
have-
saw diesel line was overspent by 2,000, now we're gonna go back, Andy, hey, what's this?
Yeah.
So we're gonna,
And if we email them to Andy in the same way, I know Peg's getting those types of answers for us, but to keep in line with what Dennis is saying, this is also trying to help us figure out what projected budgets are. And
Yeah.
if we do look at something, whether it's moving things to a fiscal budget next year or not, either way, to project the budget out, you need to have an understanding of why some of these things
Yeah.
are going over so early in the year. I mean, this
Yeah.
is only May, and we're already seeing some that are 1,000% over expended.
yeah,
So you go, what's the point? And I know there's some in here that you pay up front. We don't have answers to all of those.
yeah.
So
But if it's already 1,000% over.
you gotta
then-
know, yeah, it's not gonna get better.
Yeah, right, that's.
Although, for those that are over like that, typically there's $1 in the line and they spend $100.
those types of things, I don't think is so much of an issue. I've seen some that you have a budget in there, or we've seen some that have no budget in some of the things. And you
My
see
only
money. So-
point is where they get, where are they getting
Yeah,
the
yeah, where's it gonna come
$99
from?
Right.
Yeah.
And we need
Yeah.
to know that now rather than later.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
Absolutely.
what-
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you want to go, Peggy?
Yeah.
Well, just, one of the one of the answers, one of the concerns with physically moving money from line 24 to line 26, because 26 is over and we still have money left in 24, is that when we go to do our budget next year, we will not see that 24 was over, so, oh, we really need to budget more for that
Mhm.
and less for 26.
Except
So-
we should see the, now granted, because we're making the decisions before everything is done.
Mm-hmm.
But we should be able to see the true expenditures at the
Right,
time. So
right.
we should see, hey, you had budgeted 2,000, you spent 4,000.
Right.
Do you need to increase this
Right.
next year instead of just having it back at 2,000?
And that's what I was just trying to
Yeah,
say,
we will be
is
able to see that.
don't physically move the money,
And
keep it as it
Yeah.
is.
just,
so
but
that-
there should be, you can put a note in saying it's being used from here.
And
That's what,
yeah,
all it
and
requires.
that's-
Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
But that's what I try to do every month when I go
Yeah.
through the expense report and it's over.
Yeah. That should also help in the long run, that if you could pull money from this other line item that was over budgeted,
Yeah, there you go.
you know, because that should be, that, you know, maybe that's the case and that gets shifted,
Well,
or
that
maybe
we
it
know at the
wasn't
end of
and
the
it was
year,
just
yeah.
you're lucky because you didn't use it at this
Yeah.
time, so.
Okay,
Chairman,
But anyway, that's how we budget, how
Okay.
the school district budgets.
Then just take the library. You got an overspent line. Okay, I understand it. So they didn't blow the budget, they're still within the budget. They'll say, well, I'll have to remember, I'm gonna take money out of this line, but they're not gonna do it physically. You'll have to keep it in mind. So long as they stay within the budget, they can move money in and out of their budget. Now, the fire department, the first time they went out with it, they under budgeted I think it was the lighting. They didn't know, it was just a target they put out there, and then they had to. You also gotta remember, fuel right now has gone up since spring.
Yeah.
I mean, since last year, I mean, it's been going up.
Few wrinkles.
And now, you know, if they,
Yeah.
so long as they stay within that budget, and if they do go over that budget, this is an overall budget, so long as they don't breach that
And why?
bottom line. And it has happened. I've seen 3 budgets go over.
Yeah.
But they stay within the bottom line, they didn't go over it. Otherwise, that becomes a problem.
And Bob, I agree with you saying, as long as they stay within the budget, that's the end goal.
Yeah.
But you still have to have an understanding of what's happening month to month, otherwise it gets completely out of control. You can end up with a line item that's way over expended, that should have had more money budgeted in the first place, and another one that next year gets rolled over for a high budget that never should have happened. So you still have to have, it's not our job to track all the funds, but we need to have an understanding of it for making the next
Okay.
projection.
Anything that's way overspent like that, you gotta have an answer for that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And-
because something sure as
and
heck
I
happened.
think all that's being requested is that if they know that's gonna happen, if they let us know.
Let us know.
Hey, this is gonna be overspent.
Yeah.
But we're gonna take, we know we have extra in lines 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, but you're not gonna see them physically do it or tell you.
Yeah, it's not gonna move in the budget, they
Note
can't
is
do
what,
that.
need- all it's
Yeah,
needed
they
in most
just,
cases. Some
like you
notice
said,
to
a
us, a
notice-
notification.
Just know
Yeah.
that they know they've overspent
Yeah.
and that they know where they're
Yeah.
gonna take the money from.
Yeah,
I know I did.
Because
Yeah.
if we're gonna just pay attention to the bottom
Yeah.
line, then we're wasting an awful lot of time going down line item by line item, looking at where there may be issues.
yeah.
Right.
See, I guess
That's,
the thing is, you still gotta watch every department, but you also watch the bottom line.
No, absolutely.
Okay, you have to watch both ends of it, because if he's really going, having a good time with that budget, that something went wrong, or he did not budget enough, or
Yeah.
forgot. Town clerk did that. They were selling property, didn't put enough money in the register of deeds.
Yeah.
Of course, she went over. She forgot all about it.
I guess a good way to look at it without going through too many things, there's, under the government buildings, Bob, and this is
Yeah.
where it comes down. Under government buildings, there was a net budget of $500. We have spent $4,500 for equipment, for an equipment lease. So the question becomes, what did we lease that cost 9 times what we planned for an entire year, and we're only a quarter of the way, little over a quarter of the way through the year? So is this gonna continue to go up? It's,
That's
you
what
know,
you
and it's
gotta
on
answer,
page
yeah.
5, that's
Yeah.
what, and that's
Yeah.
what Dennis is
That's
asking.
Yeah.
what you do, is it a one-time?
Yeah. Well, my again, these are questions we need to get from Andy. That looks like
Right.
something got moved.
And that's what that's
Yeah.
why we need to get the answers.
Yeah, it's,
to
yeah,
those
that
things.
looks like something got moved.
Yep.
You moved probably a copier lease from
Yep.
the TA's budget
Yep.
to government
And it
building.
might, and that's right, and it may have shifted
That's-
and it's charged to the wrong line
Yeah,
item. We
that's
don't know.
what, you know, we've seen that sort of thing happen
Yeah.
before. But
But again,
yeah,
we want it corrected if it needs to be
Yeah,
corrected.
again, that's where, you know, that's a question to bring up to Andy.
Yep.
How about part-time salary? I just looked at
Yeah, I
that.
know, I saw that one too.
Yeah, the dollar, because there was a
That's
dollar
so-
factored in.
Yeah,
But if it goes over unreasonable, then you gotta find out why.
Yeah.
Something may have happened.
yeah, and again, that one would be one that, you know, we get a question.
Yeah.
Answer back from Andy. So anything else to? All right, so request that they tell us if they know that something's gonna be expended, that, hey, yep, we know, we've got money in the budget to cover it because we know this one, we suspect it's gonna be underspent. Okay, and if anybody has anything else there,
Nope.
I think Peg is up.
I think she went home.
I don't think she did, because I heard her. If she'd gone home, I wouldn't have heard her say, I think she went home.
Oh, that was Tammy. Tammy was saying, I think she left. Okay, in that Google thingy-wingy, I don't know what else to call it. Everybody uses it, and I just call it the Google thingy-wingy. Tom did post all of the answers to Humphrey's questions from last month. And what I have asked Tom to do is, because every month I go through the expense report, I ask questions of Nate, he responds. I used to send it to Bob, and Bob would print it for everybody, but you guys are new. So I've asked Tom if he would put it in the Google thingy, so that it'll be
Official name will be Google Doc.
perpetual, so that whoever comes on next year, if there's a new person again, I don't have to go through.
All of it.
Yeah, because I mean, I had a lot of the answers to your questions, and there were a couple that I had to go to Nate again, so.
And again, in interest of saving time, it's not to sit here and during the meeting.
Right, no,
just go,
absolutely.
Let's go look at every one of
Just
these
waste my
items."
time, okay,
Yep.
no problem.
Not
Anyway,
your time either.
my time is free, you know, what can I say? I honestly, based on everything that I have already answered, I did not have any questions of Nathan on the expense report this month. We still basically have $94,190 left. Everything has been encumbered so far. He is going to go through, his next step is to go back through all of the encumbrances and unencumber anything that he does not think that we're gonna spend. So if something was encumbered for $100,000 and we're only gonna spend 90, he now knows we're only gonna be spending 90, so he will take that 10,000 out of the encumbrance and it'll add to the bottom line. So we are not bottom line over budget. If you wanna go into the Google thingy and look at all the questions and all the answers.
I don't care about the bottom line.
Well, all the
That's your
different
job,
lines.
is to stay under the bottom line.
All the lines that are over, because we always have
I
a lot
have
of.
a question on
Okay.
encumbrances, though.
Oh, yes, sir.
And I think you just hit on it. And when you look at the encumbrances, especially under salaries, where we only have 2 months left, one being a 5-week month. See, in the house, I learned from the last meeting. However, if I look at the April totals expenditure and use that just as an example of a 4-week month, right? The encumbrances are 4 times that monthly expenditure in April,
Okay, because the current.
when we only have 2 months left. Is that true? We only have 2 months left?
May, June.
May and June, yes, absolutely. However, if I remember going through this, because you stumped me with that last time and it took me a while to think about it, because the teachers in their CBA, their contract, They are paid every 2 weeks.
Mhm, yeah, I
So
get that.
I actually worked out the calculations last time on the one that you gave me and went back and said, okay, if I take whatever the total amount was, divided it by 26, and did whatever calculation, I mean, I came up with a weekly salary, and it worked out to be exactly right for the rest of the year, if that makes any sense to you.
No.
It
So-
doesn't on that line.
So I'll use the actual numbers.
Right,
For line number 1.
yep, current period
the
was
number-
66.
The number was 66,770.
Right. Okay, let's see if I can do
So
this
if
again.
we agree that that's kind of an average, that's for April, so that would be an average expenditure on that particular salary line
Right.
for a 4-week month.
Right.
2 paychecks, right?
Right,
So we're not, the 5 paycheck thing is not, I mean, the 3 paycheck thing is not an issue here. When you look at the encumbrance for that line, it's $267,000. For, and we've only got 2 months to go. So even if we were off
The
by,
most it should have been is one extra, 2-week period.
I don't know what this phone
Should've
call
been
is coming.
Twice the 66 plus maybe a 2-week period.
893.
well, what caught my eye is when I looked at
614.
a series of them, and I did the math, they all came out to 4.000 something, something, something times that number. It was almost like there was an arbitrary encumbrance number created,
Yep.
which Peg may have kind of,
She kind of touched on it, they gotta move some
Kinda touched
encumbrance
on
money
it.
back, right, so.
right. But in this case, we're talking about lots of money.
Okay, I just divided the grand total of 893,614 by 26 pays. And something that, as I'm doing this, when I was a teacher in Rochester, we were paid every 2 weeks, so it was basically 26 pays. 1 year, believe it or not, there were more weeks in that year than they had budgeted for salary. So what we ended up, we had to vote on some way that they could finagle that we got half a paycheck, half a whatever. It was a little strange, but if there were too many weeks in a year, there were not too many weeks in a year, but if you go every 2 weeks, you end up. And rather than
I think you're playing games with
no,
me
I'm
now.
not. I mean, it really was. It was bizarre. Okay, so that divided by 26 pays comes out to 34,370 bucks.
There's only 9 weeks left.
9 weeks left. So if I
Which is not 9 pay periods, that's only 4 pay periods.
right,
5.
so I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna multiply that times 4.5. Let's see if that works.
It's still gonna be about a lot less than
Yeah,
that,
it's
but
a lot.
It's gonna be about half.
Yeah.
What Dennis is saying is it did make sense for some of it, Peg, but right now it
Yeah.
seems like that encumbrance is still
If-
very.
if
Well,
I
it-
might,
It's a good
does-
question.
If you have a substitute come in for, say, 2 weeks, that does not come out of that
No.
line?
There's the
No.
substitute.
Does
Yeah.
the teacher's salary still come out of that? Is
Yes,
it a-
yes,
is it
if it's
substitute?
if it's a
Okay,
sick,
now, have we been fully staffed for all of the elementary school teacher positions since July 1st of last year?
we have, yeah, some of them, what I was gonna say next was, when this budget was prepared, it was based on, say, me at, top of the scale, making $150 billion.
Yeah.
And,
Worth every penny.
I thought so. And I finally resigned, went to, someplace else to get even more money, and we hired Dennis. And he was a lot cheaper.
What would be?
So even though the original encumbrance, and that's why I said Nate is gonna go
Yep.
through the encumbrances to see what really is left to pay out. So he encumbers everything based on the budget and the people at the time.
So the bottom line, what I'm getting at is that the amount encumbered there could be higher than what is absolutely required because that accounts for, you had a teacher at a higher pay scale
Right.
budgeted when now you're actually have employed a teacher at a lower pay scale for that. So that could
Yeah.
explain the difference.
Right.
Yeah,
And somebody could have left,
yeah, and,
and we have a substitute.
yeah.
So their salary is totally gone. Their health insurance will be
Yeah.
gone, but the amount is still encumbered.
Yeah, now whether or not that works out to be the nice numbers that Dennis has found, I don't know.
Well,
But-
as an example, I mean, I'm using just, I'm not doing it down to the cents and so forth, but in the first three line items, there's $288,000 worth of over encumbrance based on what I'm seeing.
Okay.
Now, a substitute teacher's salary here and there, or,
But
you
that
know,
comes out of another total
or
line. so-
hiring another teacher for 2 months doesn't amount to 288,000. So there's gotta be an issue there somewhere.
All right, as I said, Nate is going through the encumbrances, so,
Let's see how, if we think, even if we're thinking bottom line, we're thinking, well, there's $94,000 underspent. No, you're underspent by potentially $370,000,
not that much.
which actually is pretty close to the yearly amount you give back every year.
Right. And it- most of
We're
it
gonna
fall on the
check and
salary.
see if we can encumber it and spend it within a year.
Yeah.
See what RSA that might be under.
After we buy the tax rate down, yeah. Anyway,
Okay, so
That's-
I will definitely check with Nathan on that one. And I wanna say, if we ever lose Nate, we're in deep.
Yeah, because there
Deep.
was certainly a lot of my questions were a similar thing. because
Dog.
I can say that, trying to understand the difference between, I understand why we encumber it, because coming into the new year, but you look at that and the amount remaining and you go, I have never in my life, in 30 years of budgeting in the government, seen that type of budget. Where you go, you've got an amount remaining, but that amount remaining isn't really what's remaining, because you've also got encumbered money.
yeah.
And it's very difficult to go and track both, because the reality is you got 267,000 encumbered, but you got 23,887 remaining. So in essence, you've got $290,000 between the two. And as Dennis says, with about 2 months to go, you're only going to spend about you're only going to spend about $125,000, $130,000. So that's a pretty big chunk of change.
Well, the 288 was after I divided it by 2.
Yeah,
500 and some odd
Yeah,
thousand.
well, no, that's just that one line item.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Just the one line item is 288,000.
Well, not to mention the fact that this budget is, when you look at it, it's bass backwards from the town, too.
Yeah,
So
this
if you
one's
just get done
remaining
looking at the
as opposed to
town,
spent. So, yeah, it is.
Okay,
Sorry.
anything else to grill?
I am definitely
about
going
it.
home.
No.
I used to love coming to these meetings.
Okay.
All
You
right,
have
that was.
anything else that you want to highlight on school stuff, Peg?
Yes. You all have the handout from tonight. I will email this. I did not get this until today, so I will email it for you to put into the Google thingy.
Okay,
These were the questions that Humphrey sent to you, that I sent to Nate, and you can see my little question here. Did you forget about me, or are you just ignoring me? That was me to Nate, because I sent them off as soon as I got
Anybody
them.
need copies? Everybody got
Everybody
copies?
should have a
Oh, I had
copy.
like
Yeah.
3 other copies here. So.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, he does answer all of the questions. Hopefully,
Yep.
you can figure out that one, and the one that I probably could have answered, but I didn't even bother to look at it. I just went and sent it off to him. Accounting, it was the last one, number 4. Accounting, a credit, or revenue is a credit, so it's negative or in parentheses or in red.
Yeah, it just throws everything backwards, that's all.
Well, it's.
When you're looking at it.
accounting.
No,
I
I
know.
understand he's doing it. My
But it-
biggest problem wasn't the negative parentheses. That was just another comment. It's just very confusing when you go, this is actually money coming in and it shows negative. It's kind of,
Well, that's because that's accounting.
yeah. But
Um,
my big thing is and I see his answers, but when I look at what's been spent in the current period, what's been spent over the reported period, and then what's remaining, and the numbers don't add up. And that's because there's nothing here that says when money comes in, doesn't come. I really wish there was something in here that says, that's, you know, there's a column missing to me that says there's something that hasn't come in yet.
All right, you're talking about the revenue report?
When I'm looking at the revenue, the monthly expense and the revenue report.
Okay, well,
when
we
you
don't
look at the-
encumber anything in the revenue report.
No, between the two, my point is when you try to roll it up from one month to another, okay? Between what was spent, and I kind of rolled a couple questions together in that, because
Okay.
I'm trying to cover line item 2 and 3. When I look at the reports, and I said, okay, for instance, number 2 said the monthly report has a grand total balance, was listed as, you know, that statement there, okay? I
Number
was
two,
trying to
okay.
look at the April monthly revenue report, and it says, we have just received the current period for 4/1 through 4/30 is listed as $809,000. And the annual reporting period now says $8,399,000 compared to the $7.5 million. I don't understand why we've got a difference in revised budgets that's $1 million different between
Okay,
expenses and revenue. There should still be a budget. Whether you get money coming in or not, there is a budget, and there's $1 million difference between those two reports. I don't, that personally, I've never seen that happen on budget reports and revenue reports before. Now,
Okay, if you look at his answers, though, about the grants,
I am, but that
Okay.
doesn't explain to me why there isn't, that's what I'm saying. That's a missing piece. I don't know if that's all grant money. I just see there's a $7.5 million budget and an $8.4 million budget, and then I have to go read some grant report that I see separately. That's the difference between the expenses
okay.
and the revenue.
okay.
There's still a budget. Now, where the money comes from is either through grants, through taxes, through something else. But the budgets, I don't understand why they are, it's not at 1.4, it's actually like 800 and something $1,000 difference. It's $809,000 difference.
Okay, well, if you look at the actual revenue report,
Yep,
the 100 is the general fund,
yep.
which is basically budgeted.
Yep.
Then food service, I don't even want to talk about. I mean,
No,
that's
yeah,
kinda,
and that's okay. I'm not looking at the individual
and
ones. I'm just looking at why when you add the numbers
But
up, it
then-
ends up being like $45,000 missing.
Were you
somehow.
talking bottom line?
I'm talking bottom line
Okay.
stuff, yes.
If you look at the grants, I mean, that's probably where all the that's gotta be where all the changes are coming from. Because we have a grant, but we don't get the money. And sometimes we don't even know that we're getting the money.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, we do the work. Now we can bill whoever the grant people are, and now we can get the money. Now they'll give it to us. They will not give us any grant money until we've actually spent the money.
Exactly.
So the grant revenue is going to change every single month.
And that may very well be where they end up, the missing pieces. All I'm saying is, that's the thing. It's very hard for me to look at one month and then go look at the next month when
Okay.
I see what was spent, and it never adds up. They don't add up because of something like that missing. And again, that may be only because I'm not familiar with that piece of it. But
Okay, well,
when I look
hopefully,
at one report, it's very hard to sit there and say that I just spent $809,000, but when you look at it, it was actually $760 or $840. It doesn't make any sense on a report. The numbers should add up from one month to the next on the report. Again, the revenue report, the grant money is, whether we get it or not is another story, but I just don't understand why our reports don't go from one month to the next, and what we spend does not end up being the end result of how it adds up to the next month or subtracts to the next month. That's what my questions
okay,
were.
grants, I'll tell you, very honestly, grants, I find confusing. I mean, I have an accounting degree. I understand accounting. But even going through the grant report, I
Oh,
have
that-
more questions of Nate. But
Me too.
we say, or ABC says, yes, we're gonna give you a grant for $1 million.
Yep.
Great. It sits on the grant report.
Mm-hmm.
We start spending the money, so it shows up on the expense report, but we have not been refunded from the grant yet. So it's not showing up on the revenue report under grants.
Okay.
Does
So
that make
somewhere-
any sense to you?
Yeah,
now?
but
Okay.
somewhere in this report, though, it could say pending. That's, I mean, he's got other reports that say that. If that's in this report in a column somehow saying pending grant, that would make a, my biggest question on that, Peg, and I know it's not yours, it's Nathan's to answer, is,
Well,
like I said,
it's
between
the
February and March,
state.
there was a $7,100 difference when you tried to roll up what was spent to what the end result was. And then this last month, it was $45,000 difference when you rolled up what was spent to what's left over. I don't, I mean.
So if you see that, A plus B is gonna equal C.
Yeah,
if you
this,
see
but this is A
pending.
plus
I know
B,
what you're
and
saying.
something out there that I don't
Okay.
know is coming in or not coming in is, it's not C anymore. We have, you know, this isn't calculus, this should just be, you know, straight math. But there's, that's the only, that's my question. And
Okay, I will ask
It could very well
about
be that the
pending
grant money
notation.
was, the difference was $7,500 in grant money that didn't come through, or $45,000 in grant money that didn't come through.
Yes.
So that was all my questions were, is why is it when I look at where we started, what was spent, what the end balance is, why is there $45,000 missing? Or, and the previous month was $7,500. What am I missing? The reports don't stand on their own, and it makes it very difficult. I couldn't explain it to if somebody came up to me and said, hey, can you explain this? I would go, no. And I should be able to.
Peg.
Yeah, well, no, but again, Peg, it shouldn't just be you having to grab those answers. The numbers should roll up somehow. Most of them do, but when I start seeing those, and like I said, I see the difference between two different budgets on revenue and expenditures, and the revised budgets don't even match. Well, there should be a budget, and the budgets, where's the money coming from, is something separate. They should line up somehow, and they just don't.
Well, the
And
budget number should never change.
exactly my point. But they're different on both reports. The budget is different.
All right,
on
can you
revenue.
give me an
Yep.
absolute example line? Revenue versus expense. And I have
Okay.
the April.
I have an adopted budget
What line?
on the monthly revenue.
Yeah,
Shows $10,891,000 on the monthly report.
grand
This
total
was the
bottom
one that
line.
came, grand total bottom line.
Okay, would you just look at the, all right.
Yep, 10,891.
Okay, I'll give you that one, all right.
And then I look at the monthly expense report for the same thing, and it has a grand total of $933,072 under an adopted budget. So why is there a $900,000 difference between the two budgets? Between
I wish I
revenue?
had last
and-
month's grants, because we've actually received quite a few grants.
Okay, but how does that change the budget, the adopted budget? That's where the money comes from, but the
That's-
budget.
Okay, so it should be,
Your budget would change in that case.
Yeah,
on the
with a
budget-
grant.
On the grant
On-
side.
What's
Yeah.
coming in, but I'm saying, okay, but the adopted budget shouldn't change. What comes in financially should change.
well, no, because we don't always know what we're actually going to
That would
get
be-
from a grant. We might get a grant
All right.
halfway through the year.
That should be listed under an adjustment to the original budget.
And I haven't seen
You
that
got
in here.
things
That's,
coming in during the year.
see, I don't have, there's nothing
That
in the
would clear it
report
up,
that
I
explains it,
think.
is why
Okay,
I'm asking.
well, I'm
Peg.
looking at, on the monthly revenue, the second page,
Yep,
the first three lines.
yep. Well, federal grants show almost 1.3 million for the monthly report, right? Under the
Yep.
federal grants.
But would you please look at just the first three?
Yeah,
Those we got this year after we actually had a budget. We did a budget, had done a budget.
That's easy for you to say.
yeah,
And they became available.
okay,
So we applied for the budget to do some work on the buildings.
okay.
And so that is definitely going to be different. We had to add it. We can add it. You know,
Mhm.
we've spent it. We've been reimbursed. Bob, you were on
Yes, I
the
was.
grant committee, right?
Yep.
For a while. I mean, it was pretty confusing.
It was, but sometimes Nate says it may take a while to get it back, to get the money.
Yep, it does.
That DHHS, you didn't know whether you're gonna get it. You budgeted for
Yep.
it. And all of a sudden, here it comes. Now, I don't know what happened to that money, whether you sent it back or not, because that was an issue on the budget. I think it was 2 years ago when it happened, but they don't tell you, well, you might get it, you might not, but you can't wait.
Yeah.
I need this money, so you have to budget for it, and
Oh, I understand the need to budget. I guess I'm just, and I know I'm not stupid, because like I said, I didn't lose out on all those budgets I did for 30 years. It just, when I see an adopted budget, I understand you're gonna have different money that rolls in, where it comes from, and that's extra. But again, I'm just looking at it from month to month. It seems to be different, and some
I
of it's the
think-
grants, but it just, they don't line up between
Yeah.
expenses.
Yeah.
The budgets don't line up.
If I
somehow.
might, I think the number that, the $10 million number, it almost sounds like it's a nomenclature thing, because we call the $9 million budget that we look at the expense report from, the adopted budget, and we also call this number down here as a result of the adopted budget. And I totally see Humphrey's point that, hey, if this is an adopted budget, why does this number change? You've defined it, this is it.
It's
Why
a
does it
defined
change?
number for the
So,
year.
I'm thinking that maybe a little bit of clarity would be had if that was adopted budget plus grants, or something like that. Now, it's not the adopted budget, it's because I agree, you look at a name, you don't expect the definition of what that name is to change from report to report, and that's what it is. You know, but I also believe that a lot of the discrepancy that Humphrey's talking about is because of grants, the ebb and flow of grants in this whole process.
And again, and I'm not to beat, it's not to beat a dead horse, that could very well be, but I see where it shows grant money coming in. It shows where it comes in under the revenue report. There's a column for
Yeah.
it, so it shows amendments when those come in. I would expect to see that the budget would start off in the same, and then whatever amendments come through, make adjustments to the revised budget. It's the adopted budget that throws me, is why
Yeah.
it is $900,000 different.
And like I said, that's why if it
Yes.
has a different name,
Yeah.
that helps.
And it could be, I mean, again,
Yeah.
but see, then I would expect that would be more money in some cases, but
Yeah.
you're right, Tom. And if because that may be what the difference is. It may be where we started budget plus whatever's expected.
Yeah.
But-
And again, this sounds like might be something we might ask Nate to come in and
That'd be good.
give us, hey, can you
Brief
spend 20
rundown.
minutes explaining all this to us
Yeah.
and how these numbers all,
Yep.
and give us,
Yeah, I mean-
20 years worth of accounting experience in, 20 minutes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because I don't
That's
want to
about
be the
it.
dead horse
Yeah.
each month. I
Yeah.
just want to understand it better,
Okay, so let's see, the grant report, Joy dear.
Thanks for bearing with me though, Peg, seriously.
Sorry, I have my little, what do you call those dolls?
Those
that you stick
Kewpie dolls, you're going to start
that you
stabbing.
stick pins into, so if
Yeah.
you start
Voodoo
feeling
doll?
pain, what?
Voodoo
Voodoo doll?
Voodoo dolls, whatever it is.
Um,
Yeah.
okay, I did get an update from Melissa Jean, our special ed director. There were some, federal IDEA or special ed funds unused that there was a list of all the towns originally that had not used all of their money. We had used all of our money. And then all of a sudden, there was something in the Union Leader and Foster's that Milton was getting $30,000 back from this unused money. And it's like, why are we getting it back if we used all of our money? So I don't know how they did it, but they just kind of split it and said, okay, so we are getting $30,000 back. However, unfortunately, we may not in the future be getting as much as we have been because the state was using a wrong distribution method. They were not allocating to districts. Any district that had a private school should also be getting IDEA funds. We do not have a private school in town, so the money is now going to other
It's here on the
towns.
Ridge.
Shortridge.
Yeah, isn't that a
George
private, that's a
Academy?
private school?
Isn't that private?
And it's here in
Yeah.
town?
Melissa,
They were just looking
Yeah.
for a security guard.
Yeah. We have, it's right there on the
We have a
Ridge.
private school.
See, and this is why it's important Peg comes to these meetings.
yeah, man.
Remember, I published that job opening, remember that, for the security guard?
Yeah,
And you know what? I wasn't interested. I'm trying to be
Oh, sorry.
retired.
it's on Governor, yeah, the one on-
Not doing very well,
Yeah.
but not making a lot of money. Okay, we do have, all right.
Tell them they owe us for the last, how many years?
Yeah.
How long's
How
it
long's that school
been
been there?
I don't even know if they've been getting it.
That's kind of my point. I'm actually semi-serious. If we're not getting the money, how many years has that school been there that we haven't gotten the money?
Well, no, the problem is we've been getting the money.
Right, they're gonna take it away from us.
They're gonna start taking it
Oh,
away
so-
from us.
so-
But our
Yeah.
argument is
So
that we do
just
have a.
Have to convince them to
Yeah.
right
Private
all
school.
along.
Yeah, that's all.
It's not one we send our kids to.
And how much was that, 30 grand?
Yeah, we get 30 grand out of the unused.
Could have a hell of a party with that.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's just a
was
good
the thing
start.
turned off? We
Oh,
can.
sorry.
All right, well, anyway, that was Melissa's concern because our special ed, I mean, it's
That's all, yeah.
up and down and up and down and all the way around. And all right, so you know I'll get your answers
Okay.
by next week,
Are we-
month, whatever.
Are we good with school reports?
I just don't understand them. But other than that,
Well, anyway, we'll have, we'll see if we can convince Mr. Castle to
Mr.
come in
Castle
and give
to
us
come
summarize, like I said, 20 years worth of experience down to a 20-minute lesson.
yeah, there we
However
go.
many years of experience he has doing.
Quite a few,
stuff.
and as I said, if anything ever happens to that
Okay.
gentleman and he leaves,
Let's see, should we, well, we can approve the minutes of March 19th and the April, whatever that is, if we want. However, Sherry's not here to make well, I guess she can get them all.
We sent the, yeah,
Yeah,
I know we
yeah,
sent
we-
corrections.
Yeah, but I added some to it though, and she didn't send it to the committee.
Ah,
Well, they're
Yes.
not corrections, they're more for clarity.
okay,
Yeah.
and I made corrections, I mean, they're in red, they're printed in red on the March 19th.
Yeah, I added some to yours too. 'Cause I made some, I had a couple.
okay, you said to the March 19th. Let's see, is this,
So that they're not reflected on these minutes then. I know mine are not on yours.
yeah, yours wouldn't be here, right? 'Cause,
No, but it's, when you see page one and you see a line number, but you don't know what it is, and you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
even know what, I had to put the titles on to make it more clear, because if somebody reads the minutes,
Oh, yeah,
they're not gonna know what it is, so,
yeah.
Exactly what it says.
Yeah.
and you probably
What
made
was your
some,
question on this?
It's actually in there.
Oh, that doesn't answer my question, so.
Well, I know because of the encumbrances, but
Yeah, well, that was the basic question, is the encumbrances was the issue. That's
Okay.
500 and some odd $1,000 worth of encumbrances with only 2 months left. Yeah, but if that was the case, I wouldn't have even brought it up. We should
If we pass, we
check with
close,
them.
I did send that to Sherry, so
Okay, you did?
I did send her
Okay.
my corrections with it.
All right,
so should we just approve them?
Well, you better take a look at maybe mine, because I made changes to it. You won't have them, I want to give one to
yeah,
Dennis.
yeah.
I don't think I touched this one.
Do we have,
I've got a copy that showed yours plus my comments that I printed out.
Yeah, but
So,
these
it's
are,
not-
these are comments that Bob,
Yeah, and you got Bob's comments
The
too.
19th is not in here. I didn't do nothing to the 19th. It's the 16th that I did.
oh,
Okay.
okay, this one's the 19th.
all right, well, the 19th, it looks like I'm the only one who did the changes since they're
think
only in
so.
red.
Okay.
No, I had some too.
Did you? What did you? Oh, God.
Mine's on here, but it didn't go back out. I forwarded them to Tom and
Yes, I did.
I
I
Did
think-
send them out?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I did make one on
Sent mine to Sherry.
page 3. Uh,
I don't know.
see, there's two paragraphs above where it says Mr. Carrier provided the committee with a copy of
Oh,
February
yeah,
13th.
yeah, the school district.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
put town clerk,
Okay.
it was the school district clerk that did
Okay,
it. That's
alright.
the only change I made on that one.
And
Okay.
or was it the 19th?
Yes,
Where?
We did changes in
Yeah, 19, page
Uh,
3.
page 3, 2, go to the third from the bottom, third paragraph, where it says Mr. Carrier provided the committee with a copy of February 13th, supplied by she had town clerk, it's the district clerk. They gave it to me,
Okay, so,
and I didn't make no more other than this one.
so that with the changes that Peg made,
And then I got some changes too. So I don't know, I don't even remember which ones were hers and mine, because when I printed it out, it just came out in red. I'm on page 3 as
We
well.
only have,
And we'll see if it's the same as,
All right.
even
Yeah.
adjust off the page.
probably easier for you to see if it's the same as what Peg had.
DNSS?
I don't see it.
Yeah, so-
This is getting very confusing with these minutes.
Well, that's why sending
Yeah,
them
it
back, I should only, I'd like to see just when you're done.
It's
What's
the
the edited
one-
version?
The one with maybe
ended.
mine in red, yours in blue and purple and
Well,
green, but
Just
see them all
of it
together.
showing
Yep.
all the edited things so we can look
Yep.
at it.
okay, yes, this doesn't have your changes in it. That's up on the drive. It doesn't look like Humphrey.
I know I saw Peg's, and I said, rather than turning around, I turned around and took hers and just
Yeah.
said, let me add mine in, because some of hers were the same as what I was looking at, so.
And I missed the town clerk that Bob fixed, so.
Yeah, I didn't know, so.
It was too late to send it back.
Yeah.
When we get into any other business, I want to get into something.
Okay.
So do we table? Do we just, I mean, how do we know what the final copy
think we have to
is?
table.
I think we have to table both of them
Yeah,
again
yeah, I
until
think-
we get the,
Yeah.
Yep, I will,
Can I make a suggestion on that, Tom?
Yeah.
If we table it, rather than have to wait for the next meeting, if you get it, one final thing, you can send it out for a vote.
yeah. No, can't vote.
No, I should say, not vote, send it out so we know what we've got,
Yeah.
there's a better way of
Yep.
doing it, come back.
Yep, we've got to figure out how to get everybody to edit
Yeah.
the same,
One piece.
the
you know,
same,
and
or to view edit online.
That way, when we
the
come in
same-
here, it's just, here it is, so we all
Yeah.
sign.
That's the
Sean
beauty
Pello.
of Google Docs, though.
Yeah, if everybody changes the same bit, then we avoid this, and then it's changed.
Yep.
and we know that they're the final copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, so do we have a motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table both the 19th and the 16th. Can we
I'll
do both of
second
them
that.
together?
For seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to vote against it.
Okay, we have,
I know you don't have the rest, but the thing is, this is going way back. Hopefully you don't go beyond July to get March.
No, I agree.
Well, something,
Part
yeah.
of it is my fault when I happen to catch it again. I knew they saw it, but
yeah, okay, chair votes aye. It looks like it's 5-4, 1 against, with
Yep.
Bob Carrier being against. Motion carries. And I take the vice chairman's comment to heart that we really do need to, and I will take credit for the confusion in the minutes and all that. I will let that rest on my shoulders. Part of it is trying to figure out how to use Google Drive on my part. That's
I
actually,
have to share the blame a little bit too, because I did catch this, and
yeah,
I'm sorry, but the other one was so plain. There's no explanation, so I had to go in. I told Sherry it's not a correction, it's more
Yeah, we will.
clarity, so.
yeah, I will figure out a better way to do this. Okay. And there was an item, well, actually, got a couple things that other business come before the board. Item I forgot to put on that Mr. Carrier's,
The
joint meetings and dates and whatnot, for reviewing the budgets when it starts to become budget season here, as it's gonna be here sooner than we think.
Mr. Chairman, I've had some thoughts about this. This may not be the time to do it. We have a new town administrator. My guess is he has no idea how we do budgets here. It's gonna be the same thing that happened 2 years ago. I did make changes again. Seems like I do constant changes. We can look at it, but I'm not sure if this committee would go for it. This is an update one.
Yeah.
And this is the 2018 budget that was last year's. Humphrey, you should have one.
I got a
gotta
copy, yeah.
Dennis has to have one, right?
I get here, there's the other packet, this might have. You had it in the.
Okay. I'll go over it, but I don't know if this committee will want to go into it. Let me just go real briefly, Mr. Chairman, I'm not gonna stay on it too long. Okay, the change I made is page 1, you see it in blue. And I hate to say it, but there's 2 other changes I want to make, but I'm gonna hold back. If you look at the next page, I started in September instead of October 7th. My guess is, seeing what's going on in these meetings, I think we're gonna need more time. And those budgets that are in the slots there, that's just something to fill in so you have an idea of what we could put in there. These are all Mondays. And the other thing I made a change is, instead of moving the conservation, I'd like to leave them set there because it would give us a day's break. We still could finish before Thanksgiving. There's still some days we could use, but conservation, I decided not to ask them to move. That would give us a day's break. It's almost like a constant Monday. But
Am I missing something here?
I got the 2018, that was last year's.
It's this one
Yes,
that we should be looking at, because this is last year's.
yep. Yeah,
Calendar
it was-
and
yeah, the
stuff,
one-
okay.
Well, I
one
put
year
the,
ago.
Tom told me to put the last year's calendar. I put it in
So we
detail.
got something to see. So we got
Yeah,
something to
okay,
look at.
all
That was
right, but we want
that was
this
done
one,
good.
all right.
That way there you get
Okay.
to see the difference between the two.
Oh my God, here's another calendar, sorry. I was just looking at the
Well,
old one.
this, you're gonna need a calendar. Because you could let something go right by you. Last year, one did go by me, but if this committee, trouble is, we don't have the full board here either.
Well, that's, my thought is, if they're not here, they're not here.
Yeah.
You know, we have a quorum. If the quorum decides they wanna do something, or would
Yeah.
vote to push this ahead to, because this would just be our, hey, we would like to do this, Board of Selectmen, what would you feel about this?
We might not need everything. It depends on how things go along. We might be able to skip one.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna be meeting with two very seasoned chiefs, budget-wise here, over the next couple weeks. I know in conversation with those guys over the past several months and everything else, and actually probably over the last year, they're ready to do they're ready to do their budget, and it's not hard understanding. I'll tell you right now, I don't have a problem understanding most of the budget stuff. I have a problem when I see some differences between the revenues and that, but that's not gonna change how they present, I'm saying how they present a budget,
Right.
and what they think that they need per line item, and we're gonna be asking them the questions. So, not a rookie on budgets and not a rookie in understanding the budgets. I may be a rookie on the budget committee itself, but I think there's no reason why we can't. I'll tell you, like I said, Chief Kraus and Chief Marique both said that they could present their budgets for the following year today. You know, with the few exceptions, they don't know what the retirement money changes are going to be. But you know, I've seen this for a while now. There is no reason why the line items that aren't going to change in budget-wise presentation cannot somehow be formulated over the next, whether it's the next year's budget or an 18-month budget, and working with these department heads. And the only thing that you should be trying to deal at the end is to factor in things like, what are the insurance changes? What are the changes to the retirement? The things that, by the way, and those are also things we can't change. You could actually present it to the town saying, this is the budget outside of the items we can't change. And here's what we are estimating it's going to be. So you'd be able to do these a lot without, I mean, I know you're scared about it a little bit, but I think we can do it without the problem.
I have
Without a problem.
one little thing I gotta point out, that if the selectmen will do
Yeah.
this.
I don't
Okay,
see.
if they say no, then it's dead.
Yeah.
And before I put too much more work into this, I
Yeah.
thought I covered everything. It's just one more item. I'm thinking of bringing it, see, Andy's not here. I was hoping, and Ernie left.
Well, we can certainly get on
I've got
the Board of Selectmen's agenda and
Ask the question.
you know, Matt, hey, this is the, it's my impression, what I'm hearing from the board is the budget committee is in favor of having a single meeting with the board of selectmen with the department heads. When I say single meeting, it's, you know, a single presentation where the
Right.
budget's discussed in detail.
Combined meeting, yeah.
Yeah, combined meeting. And with the understanding that, yes, we will not know the final, some of these lines, but we don't really need to know those
No.
at that point. You know, because, you know, they're gonna be what they are. You know,
Yep.
health insurance and all that. So,
Correct.
What you see in there, though, who I put in there, it doesn't mean they're gonna be there. I have to find out when they can meet.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But just to
Yeah.
give you an
Yes,
idea
just
what
an
is in
idea.
it,
What could be done?
I'd like to see it tried one time.
Now, now, Bob, if and I'm all in favor of.
No, no, I'm looking for
Yeah.
input here,
No.
but I'm also gonna need their
Yeah,
input too.
oh, yeah, but I'm wondering, it feels to me like the 16th of September is a little early. Is there any way we could move that first meeting to the 30th? How would that affect the rest of the calendar?
I've already got it on the 30th as well.
Yeah, but could we shift?
It's not imperative, but I put it there only because I can throw small budgets
Yeah.
in there, get rid of them.
Yep. You know,
But listening to the meeting tonight, we spent an enormous amount of time, and this is where I fear that we're gonna run into 9 o'clock on some of these budgets, the police, fire for sure.
but we're meeting with those departments ahead of time to get an understand, and that's the reason for those meetings. If we have those meetings and we're still here till 10 o'clock discussing police and fire budgets, then those meetings in the beginning are a waste of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, that is the purpose for us to do that, is so that we don't have to spend an inordinate amount of time asking them, what is this, what is that? Our discussions will be, after we see the presentation, will be, and we talk among ourselves, that, yeah, you know what, we think his maintenance line for the fire truck, because that's a brand new fire truck, is too high. That's where I expect our discussions to happen. Not, because that's just them presenting. Remember, that's their presentation. We really won't have a lot of questions asked then. They're giving us the information.
They're giving it, but it's gonna raise some questions. It has to.
But it'll raise mutual questions, so there won't be like one
Yeah.
meeting
Oh,
and then
I
another
get it.
meeting having, and then you gotta go back again.
Yeah.
But can I ask one question, Tom?
Yeah.
Why do you feel that the fifth, I don't know why the 16th of September would be too early.
Because, there's training that's gonna that you will be able to attend, and I wanna make sure that we start our budget process after you've had the opportunity to attend that training.
Okay.
That happens in September. I don't know what the date's.
Okay, all right, well, that's why I was
Yeah,
asking.
that's why. Otherwise, I start beginning, otherwise it wouldn't matter. I just would like to make sure we start this after the last date for that training, that's all. To give everybody, and I would encourage everybody to go to that training. It was.
I believe
it
the
was useful.
training usually is on a Tuesday.
It was on I don't remember what it was.
Well, we can actually take that out,
Just
start the 30th.
on the 16th,
Yep,
I mean, it's a selectmen's meeting,
yep.
and the departments are presenting. So is that going to be like their mutual presentation to the selectmen and to us?
Yes, that's what we would like.
Well,
Okay, all right.
Is that-
just so you understand, they have their regular meeting.
Right.
They got their business. Now,
Right.
in the past, okay, we're done business, now we'll take a few budgets and we'll go down. That's where we would come in, but I don't know when.
Okay.
We'd have to come to all the presentations, it wouldn't hurt, but maybe if they give us a date, a time, say like maybe 7:30, but geez, that's a heck of a time.
Yeah, no, I think, I wanted to just make sure because, as I said earlier, some other meeting, that I went to all the presentations to the selectmen, and then they came and presented to the budget committee, and it was as if I was listening to
Yeah, and
two different presentations.
Yeah, well-
and that's exactly why having one meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we can, and like Bob said, we've got to get the Board of Selectmen to get on board with it, but
If you want to
Yeah,
take out
no,
the
it's
16th.
fine.
well, let's.
a great
We
idea.
got room, okay,
Yeah,
but
I would like, I'm just concerned that we're going to, that I want everybody to have a chance to go to the training. Whether or not anybody attends it, I'd like to make sure everybody has the opportunity to, and have the first of these meetings start after that.
Yeah.
Whenever that is. I mean, if the last training is on the 14th, then hey, yeah, we can start the 16th.
So we'll just need to verify when those classes are.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah,
and
we go from there.
okay, I knocked out the
This is
16th
working.
if we could.
Are you going?
I'm trying not to meet
Excuse me?
often, that's why I did not
Yeah.
move
Teaching.
The
Yeah,
conservation, I kept the conservation
Yeah,
where it
that's
is.
probably
It gives
good.
1 day's break,
Yeah.
Of course they will.
so, then also we have our own meetings. But anyway, Mr. Chairman, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and drop some of this stuff off to the selectmen
Okay.
That's it.
All right, if,
or the town administrator, so I want it early, because next month is June.
Yeah.
If we take July off, we're not gonna make it.
yeah. And maybe this year we don't take July off, especially if we want to have other meetings with the other departments, which I think will be crucial to understanding, so we don't have an inordinate amount of questions to ask about why this, why that.
Is that just a placeholder on the second? Just because it came with the calendar
No.
or something? Or?
What I do is I put that in there, because I wanna know where everybody is, because when we do our, last year, I had to work around everybody's schedule, and I had to find an opening someplace to do our budget. This would be at least one day, one time, Monday, one shot.
Okay, no, I was just referring to the
Yeah,
second.
I-
that's
'cause
what
I
it
wanna
is.
know where they
Yeah, I was
meeting.
gonna say, yeah, that,
I always do that, because,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
so-
didn't fill the rest in, because we were gonna, starting point is here. I didn't fill it in like I did the
Yeah.
others.
Yeah, well, I think what Dennis is mentioning is that's Labor Day, so they'll probably move
Oh,
that meeting.
that's right.
You know, that may get moved to either the 9th, or they'll have the 16th and the 30th,
That could very
which
well.
will,
They usually skip one, yeah.
yeah, you know, so, but given that conservation's
Good
on the
point.
9th, they
Glad
might
you
just,
caught it. I didn't catch it.
yeah.
I'll let them look at it.
Yeah.
If they wanna make changes,
If the board,
if this committee is going forward, then I'll move forward
yeah,
with it.
yeah,
but-
I think it's a good, personally, I think it's a good idea. I don't know that we need
I
a
don't,
motion to have Bob drop this off.
no,
But
it's-
okay,
I'm
all
not-
right, I think it's a really good start, and hopefully we will be able to decrease the amount of time it takes us in formulating the budgets. And again, the other handout that Bob had was what we went through, what we tried to go through last year, which,
Well, it was your suggestion, Mr. Chairman, so I wrote down the meetings we
Yep.
had,
yep,
on ours and theirs. And I put the calendar in there where we were, and some of the things did not come out
yeah,
the way they should have, but they came out late.
well, okay. Anybody have any other questions about, no, sorry, yep, the other thing we were supposed to talk about, my wife would have my head.
So it's the most important item on the agenda.
Yeah, the most important item is not on the agenda. Would the committee be open to moving the date of the meeting? I say the date, the day of the month when we have the meeting.
Yeah.
I have
To,
no problem.
with the purpose of being able to allow the planning board up here so they can be recorded as well without having to jump through hoops and buying equipment. Even though there is a grant should be a grant coming to get more equipment. Who knows how long that'll take. If you started today specifying equipment, it's gonna be 2 months. I mean, not because of that, it's just that's how long it takes. It just takes time to talk to people, to. But anyway, okay, I will, or.
Well, let me
Mr. Carrier.
ask you a question.
Yes.
Because they meet twice a month, these first and the third?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, because I know this week, or this month, because the first was on a Wednesday. I mean, all of my meetings and the school board are the same exact week.
Yep.
Just because. So, if we moved it to ours to the,
Second week.
Second Tuesday instead of the third Tuesday.
yeah. I mean, I have no problem with the second Tuesday.
okay.
I'm good.
Are we gonna have budget information, like the
Oh,
monthly expense reports and stuff to be?
Oh,
That's
That's
a
a.
good point.
you know
well,
what? We should
be able to,
We should have mine, our school board.
Yeah. Because we should be able to, because if you think
No.
about, we want the budget, we want the information from the town at least a week before our meeting. We meet on the second Tuesday, there should always be at least a week before we
8
meet.
days at the most.
No, because we
Some of
meet,
them.
if we did it on the 11th, which would be the 2nd, we don't meet until the 12th, when the reports are presented to us. So I would not have the reports.
Okay, you're saying for the school.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I would not have the reports.
How about the 4th?
I mean, the
Fourth
4th,
Tuesday?
yeah.
I don't know if anybody's meeting here on the 4th Tuesday. But I'll tell you what, how about if we see,
Fourth Tuesday, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. ZBA goes
There's your
on
regular, you get the
Thursday.
calendar right here, right?
Yeah.
That's
yeah, but we don't have the,
Yeah,
Getting late.
on Thursday.
Oh my God,
okay,
this is
ZBA
early.
meeting Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Okay, let's see.
It's on the-
Oh, yeah,
the last
open it
Tuesday
up.
of the month.
okay, so potentially the last Tuesday?
We doesn't have all the meetings in here. Oh, there we go.
You call it the
Planning?
fourth Tuesday, and
Fourth,
worry
yeah,
about it.
fourth-
'Cause
fourth
if you say the
Tuesday,
last
yeah.
Tuesday, it'll be
Yeah.
the fifth one. some
Yeah, the
months.
fourth Tuesday of the month, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good point.
Is open.
Okay, and
Open.
so that
Okay.
should give us plenty of time to get the reports should.
Yeah.
Okay,
You want that in the motion?
what I would like to do first, let's see if that date is available.
Well, that's what I was gonna
Oh.
put it in the motion.
Okay.
Make a motion, we move it to the fourth Tuesday of the month, pending availability.
Do we have a second?
And data.
Yeah,
Second.
yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fourth Tuesday.
Opposed? Okay, that was unanimous. We are going to look into moving it to the fourth Tuesday. Our next meeting will be our regularly scheduled third Tuesday of the month. And then we will get the, Mr. Carrier, if you could check with the town and see if, would you be willing to do that?
Yep,
See if that,
I'll see if we
25th?
can get that room.
get this room for that, okay?
See,
Do we want to wait until we find out and move it to the 25th already? Next
I say Bob will find out, make sure there's no,
I'll come down, I'll send an email right to
me.
Okay,
and
and
And what I'll do,
but we've got other members that aren't here. I would like to just verify with them that, yeah, we gotta let them know though that we're
We
gonna
have a
move it.
quorum,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we gotta let them know that we're gonna move it. So I would say our next meeting will be on the third Tuesday, and after that, we will shift our meetings. Provided that the meeting room will be available. That sound reasonable to our quorum of 6?
okay, so we're gonna
Okay.
have, so next Tuesday's gonna be the last, and then,
Assuming that we can
Yep.
get the room.
You know what?
Okay, do we have any other business to come before the board?
the
Change the meeting
only
date.
thing, Sean had a way to get on Sherry's website, and everybody went in to do their,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I will figure that out.
Oh, do
There's a way to do it.
uh,
To edit the document.
edit
Yeah.
the
So
documents.
that everybody's editing the same thing.
document.
Yeah.
Yeah, one document. I will work with Sherry, and if I have to, I will talk to Sean and find out how to do that. Because that will fix this issue that we've got.
Yeah, which is
Uh,
crazy.
Yeah, it is, and it's, I apologize for having the meeting minutes all screwed up the way that I had them.
But
I'm just gonna say, it's been a
not-
long month.
It's not your fault, Tom.
No.
I'm just gonna say
Okay,
that.
all right, and anybody else have any other things they want to talk about?
Well, let me ask you a question. Is there a
No.
deadline?
No.
No, I may not ask you a question.
Okay,
Never
deadline
mind.
for? Well, that
Tammy,
worked.
would you ask a question for me, please?
I have a question.
Okay, now
And
since
this
bankruptcy's
this
over.
is, you know, showing my infancy on the board and not quite understanding all of the requirements that, or even the, dare I say, power that we have. But are we in a position to, how would I say, advise both the school and the town that when we, through the analysis, monthly analysis of the budgets, that we see potential for additional savings and recommend that based on where the townspeople have directed us to go, that it might be in our best interest, looking at some of these accounts that potentially will be underspent, and bottom lines would be underspent, I'll go there, that, and identify areas that may be additional savings, and that perhaps we look at those as to make sure we're not gonna go spend that extra money. Because I think it was a clear message from the town, right? And if we think that a default budget is gonna be the worst that they're gonna see in the coming years, I think we're kidding ourselves. So it might be a good practice to think about how we use this analysis for more than just, oh yeah, okay, the line items are okay, and
Yep.
you know what I'm saying?
We-
And I don't know if that's our purview, but
Bob's been on here more, we don't control how they spend. I think that we can, and I don't, Bob, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think we could say, hey, we see an opportunity here. I do know come time to set the budget, that is absolutely where we can do that.
right.
Where we can say, we believe, we saw that line A, B, and C were underspent by 50%. We don't feel that we need to have that much money in these lines. We're reducing them by 50% because of that.
Right.
And reflect that into the bottom line number.
Yep.
And then we can say, we see that, we were overspent in this line, and going back in history, have always been overspent. We need to increase that
Yeah.
by
Right.
this amount.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that, we can certainly, I think we could request, hey, you might think about this. There's absolutely we have no authority to change how they spend money, but
Understand, but
when
our
our purview is the setting of the budget. And if we see in fact, I would dare say we're failing in our job. If we see an opportunity where we believe money is being spent that should not be spent, or that doesn't have to be, or I shouldn't say spent, if we see where money is being allocated in the budget, and we feel that it should not be allocated for that purpose,
Right.
that is our job to
Right.
say no, because it's our job to set a prudent budget for the town,
Right.
to conduct the business of
And
the town.
I understand that that is the case for the 2020 budget and beyond.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that we shouldn't waste the opportunity potentially of this budget, because we're not that far into it, to identify where there may be additional savings.
That's one of the comments we had
possibilities.
when meeting with these department heads.
Yeah,
One of
and
my
that-
comments up front was
Yeah.
not just tell us what the line item means, but where can we save in these
Yeah,
areas.
Right.
and that,
exactly.
and that, again, that, as we meet with them, hey,
Yep.
that would, but I think that we can certainly request, what do you think, Bob? Now, you've been doing this way longer than I have.
Because you've got to remember something, there are variables in play. Just because you didn't use that line this year, doesn't mean next year you're not gonna
Yeah.
use it. You have to be very careful. If there's more money in there that you feel
Yeah.
you can pull, and, be careful, because
Yeah.
But-
Well-
you take everything away from them, I have no money to play with.
But what's wrong with saying you didn't use it last year? So if you put more than X number of dollars in there, you've got to justify it beyond just, well, that's
There you
what we
go, you
normally
just
put
said the
in there.
word. If he justifies it, I have to agree with him. I'm not gonna argue with him. I said, well, you know your job better than I do. I don't know
I mean,
his job.
then that kind of gives us it's kind of like why we're talking to the department heads. It
Yeah,
gives
and
us
that-
more information to understand better.
Yeah, and that's, I think a lot of that will come out as we talk with the department heads, and particularly some of the big variables are gonna be salt and sand and highway department, right? That's, a light winter, he's not gonna use half his salt budget. A heavy winter, he's gonna be pulling money from other
Fuel
spots.
budget's another.
Yeah, so,
Those-
that's a big, one of the big things that can change. But yeah, to answer your question, I think we can't direct them how to spend money, as we've said many times before. We can request, hey, can you think about not, conserving money or what have you?
David brought it up in one of the other meetings after we discussed this too. You can go back and we'll go look at the last few years. Where did they spend the money? You're not gonna just take a 1 year shot at it anyways. But if you consistently see that something is underspent year in and year out over a course of 5 to 7 years, chances are it's not gonna jump the next year.
And when they present the budgets, we will see
That's
the actual expenditures from.
From year to year.
3 years, Bob?
2 years.
2 years back, the actual expenditure for the previous 2 years, the
then-
current expenditures for that year, and then
So, yeah,
the
so
projected
3
budget
years
for the
worth.
next year. So you'll see some of that
Line
history.
item by line item.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yep.
you will.
Yes.
I think I had.
All right, well, I have two things. I mean, you shut me off before.
Careful, I might do it
I'm
again.
sorry.
No, you didn't, he did.
I did. She asked,
He
can I
said
ask a
no.
question? I said, well, perhaps if I say no.
All right, my first question was, is there, and I may have asked you this before, is there a timeline when draft minutes from our meetings need to be out?
5
5
business days after.
Okay,
they
so
should
it
be posted
is-
by, I believe, next Monday. When
Okay.
they should be posted.
Where would they be, I mean, I'm just thinking because,
Posted
On the
the
web-
on the
on-
website.
Well, they.
But can we-
Those are only
The official
approved
posting
I understand
is
that, yeah.
on the wall out there.
Yeah.
but when could we get, I'm just going from the school board that Tammy sends them to Kathy, Doug, and me on the Monday after our meetings. That way I can correct them and I can, send them back to her, send them to Doug, send them to,
Yeah.
so everybody gets the corrected right away. I mean, I just never know when we're gonna get the minutes.
We've had some, we had,
Okay, never
whatever
mind.
issues, but hopefully everything's back to an even keel now.
Okay,
She
okay.
had something come up tonight that she couldn't make it.
She was
Yeah.
there.
So.
yeah, no, I know,
you know.
and she had some personal, I know.
Yeah, so,
But I was just
but
curious.
it's been a rocky start getting started. Hopefully,
Yeah.
things are gonna get
Okay.
back on a more straight,
Okay.
even keel.
All right, my second thing,
Oh, it's 2.
Well, that's what happens.
many
if
as I want.
If I wouldn't have shut it down the first
Excuse
time,
me,
I
wait a
might have
minute.
one.
That's true.
what, 9
Okay.
o'clock? Okay, we have a time limit, just 9 o'clock. I have 57 minutes. And one of the things last year that was really upsetting with the school budget, when you were talking about, if you don't spend it, and you don't this, and you don't that, our special ed trust fund balance, whatever it's called, no, we've not had to dip into it because we've been able to move money. Right now, as of right now, we are $120,833 in the hole, just on the special ed line. Obviously, we still have money covering all of that, but we just never know. And if we have to dip into that money, it
Yeah.
can go in 1 year, flat, boom, and then we are totally screwed. I hate using that
So
word,
you're
but-
saying you have that left in,
No, we have overspent
You've overspent.
$120,000 just in our special
but
ed.
as Bob pointed out, you can move money that's unspent, right? From your
Absolutely.
bottom lines elsewhere
Right,
to
right.
cover that, right?
As I said,
Yeah.
even with that way over,
Yeah.
we right now with the encumbrances, 94,000 to the good. But I'm just saying that one area is, it's volatile. We never know.
But isn't that why we have a general fund in an SB2 town? To cover those expenses that otherwise?
I am not, I do know if the money isn't in the budget or through a warrant article, there's huge hoops that you have to jump through to expend it. I don't know what the school would have to do to be able to use that money.
Luckily,
Again.
they're underspent enough
Yeah,
to cover
yeah,
it.
right now,
Right.
but
If
but
if
to
they
the point,
weren't,
Yeah,
If we had to go to our fund, trust fund,
Yeah.
expendable fund, that thing,
Yeah.
the slush fund.
you might not want to say that too loud.
Yeah, that's-
Oh, okay, all right. And then that is no problem. We can go to that. But if we deplete that and we are still in need of funds for special ed, we do have to go through hoops
Yeah,
in
and
order
it-
to get.
but again, that's why they recommend towns have, I forget what percentage of the budget it is,
It's
in
what, like 2
the
million
general
or
fund.
something?
We've got, the town is well
10%.
positioned there with that.
10% of the
Um,
budget is supposed to, minimum of 10%.
Yeah, the town's well positioned, or at least the last I heard, we were well
Yeah,
positioned.
it's over 2 million, I think.
So, somewhere about there.
Yeah,
So, the money's there, but.
yeah,
10% of
10
a
minimum budget.
$5 million budget is only $500,000.
yeah.
So we should be in good shape.
Yep. Okay, anybody have anything else? Any more questions back? Did I really ask
Wait a
that
minute,
question?
wait a minute.
Never mind, it's not 9 o'clock.
Okay. All right.
Go to bed. Yeah.
Let's see, looks like based on our previous conversation about moving the meeting, our meeting for next month, which was gonna be June 17th, that will be the, oh, I lied, this is Tuesday, June 18th.
Yep.
June
Hey.
18th at
I already
6
have
o'clock.
that in there. I've
You're
gone
good.
ahead,
And
because I'm such a busy
do
retired
we have
person.
a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that one.
Who's in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I think I am.
Everybody opposed? Okay, we are adjourned.